It's been half a decade since the two hottest consoles on the market took over the gaming industry. Over the coming months, we're comparing these consoles on a level playing field, talking about everything from specs, to price, to accessories, to the hottest exclusive games. It's 2011, and it's time we knew the truth. We're going to kick off round one with a full comparison of the controllers, as they are one of the essentials to the console. So here we are in 2011 with two of the most used controllers of all time, the Xbox 360 controller and the PlayStation 3 controller, and they actually look like something you're able to hold, use, and concentrate at the same time. Taking a closer look at the PS3 controller, you will notice that the first DualShock is considered a template for near enough every other controller, and not just the PlayStation controllers. Even the Xbox 360 controller has some aspects and design of the PlayStation controller. The biggest difference is the D-pad and the analog layout, which is different to avoid patent infringement with Sony, as you probably know. It's not hard to notice that the PS3 controller is a lot smaller than the Xbox 360 controller, and the 360 controller is also a lot heavier. When taking a closer look at the Xbox 360 controller, it has a rough feel to its plastic, and the PS3 is pretty smooth. However, the Xbox 360 takes disadvantage, as my hands just seem to sweat a lot more when using the PS3 controller. This also causes my fingers to slip off the buttons and slip off the controller itself. I have used the PS3 controller more than the Xbox 360 controller, and it seems perfect for my hand size. The positioning needed for your hands to reach the R1 and R2 buttons can get a bit annoying and painful in the long term. You need to bend your fingers to fit the controller, and after long gameplay you start feeling symptoms of aching in your index fingers. The Xbox 360 controller is no beast either. It also can be painful after long gameplay, something Microsoft's ergonomics engineers need to work on. On the 360 controller, it has ridges to protect the triggers on the back of the controller. When having your fingers pressed against the back for hours, it starts to cause numbing in your middle finger. I'm not the only one to experience this. I think I remember LP from Techno Buffalo having the same issues. After long periods of time, the sweat from your fingers teams up with the glossy buttons and causes the buttons on the 360 controller to feel sticky. However, the rough buttons on the PS3 manage to deal with the sticky side of things pretty well, but as I mentioned earlier, they can sometimes get slippy. This causes me to slip off the controller and lose control of the game. I have been very satisfied with the durability of both the 360 and the PS3 controllers. However, the PS3 controller has had more use and abuse than the 360 controller. One common problem with the PS3 controller is a certain component inside regularly breaks off and causes the controller to rattle, as I will demonstrate now. The analog sticks on the PS3 controller are shaped like a mushroom, so your fingers sit on top of the analog sticks. However, the Xbox 360 analog sticks have a dip for the tips of the fingers to sit into. This is an advantage over Sony, as having place for your fingers to rest on reduces the chance of slipping. If you are like me and lucky enough to own both consoles, then you will know after using the 360 controller for a while, then going back to the PS3 controller makes the PS3 controller feel as if it shrunk, and can make you feel a little alienated towards the PS3 controller for a little while. With technology crashing through the roof, you would have expected both controllers to be charged easily. Now that is possible with the PS3 controller, just by plugging in the provided USB lead. However, if you're in a game of Call of Duty on the 360 and your controller dies, just hope that you have some spare AA batteries. You can purchase a rechargeable battery pack for the 360 controller, but I would have expected when paying good money for a console that they would be already included. During gameplay, you will notice both controllers have what's known as dead spots. A dead spot is where the analog is being moved but don't recognize any movement. The PS3 controller seems to have more sensitivity than the 360 controller. This can be an advantage in driving games. For instance, it's easier to drift, but also easier to oversteer. Just watch. As I come up to this corner, you will notice high sensitivity forces me to oversteer. This is also a slight advantage in first-person shooter games such as Call of Duty. Good sensitivity means precise shooting and sniping. Some games will also allow you to change the level of sensitivity. Here is the dead spot on the 360 controller while playing FIFA 11. When playing football games, I sometimes see a delay from my own movement on the controller to the game's movement. This is down to the infrared not being as quick as Bluetooth, being the main reason that I don't have this with the PS3 controller. Overall, they're both very good controllers. They both have their weaknesses and strengths, but this round goes to the positioning of the analogs for me is a big issue, as I like my fingers to be parallel, as it helps me when playing first-person shooters. The PS3 controller is a perfect size controller with a decent grip. Not that the Xbox 360 isn't good, it's just that the pain in the 360 controller is more annoying than the slight pain in the index finger for the PS3. I still like the 360 controller for its amazing durability, but for me, the PS3 just edges this one.